Okay, I've got my shortened version or handbook of my tome. This is about a sixth or a seventh of the size of my actual book, and I hope it does it justice, although I'm not convinced that it does. There's so much more information in my actual book, so I do hope people read it. And if people are averse to reading, there is an audio version that you can get on Amazon, so I hope people do read it because it is important. Okay, so I've got a preface here to introduce us to this version, so let's just get into it. Okay, I spent 8 long years researching my great opus, Life, One Big Existential Crisis, because I wanted to know the truth and share the truth with others, because it matters. This life takes no time, and I, for one, had to know what the point was before I truffle shuffle off this mortal coil. Shuffle off this mortal coil notably comes from Hamlet's soliloquy, to be or not to be, which literally is the burning question. And whilst it's attributed to Shakespeare, it's understood that Sir Francis Bacon, who wrote The New Atlantis, also known as The New World Order, authored Shakespeare's work. Anywho, as I was. So after a lot of thinking and a lot of drinking and smoking, I finally got my masterpiece complete. It was a journey in so many ways, and my book is a journey. It starts by questioning what's the point, because what is the point if there is no point? And then it takes you on a trip to the other side and back again with the answers. You get red pilled. But as it transpires, no one wants to read it. What an actual lol. You couldn't make it up. I have to ask people to please read it. In fairness, it is massive and it can be a snore at times. Thus, since I still want people to know the truth, also known as Jesus, I have written a shortened version or handbook of my tome. I have essentially recapitulated what I have to say chapter by chapter, highlighting what I believe are the most important points. So I hope you enjoy the shorter trip. It's like flying Concorde to reach the same destination quicker. Time is, after all, of the essence, and our final destination matters. I've also included a little PS here. So I've included the same foreword because it's short. We can skip over the introduction. In brief, Satanists, aka absolute freaks, really do run the show, no question. And it is a show. We watch it daily in our TVs. And the New World Order is on our doorstep. Suffice to say, for more detailed information on any of the subjects chapters, refer back to hashtag the original. And I'll put this shortened version, I'll put details about it at the end if anyone wants to read this one. Okay, so we'll just get into the foreword. I've got a little Chinese proverb, a little quote at the start of this, which states, the last one to know about the sea is the fish, because that just like sums us up. Okay, so the foreword. With regards to the title of this book, for those not familiar with the term, an existential crisis uncoils when we freak out regarding the possible meaninglessness of life. We can feel overwhelming anxiety and nausea at the futility of it all. It appears we're here for a look around and then we're toast, hence it seems pointless with no intrinsic value. It's said we only get one chance at life, and so we have to make it count. But does it matter? Does anything really matter? Death is another source of angst, since no one really knows what happens when we die. Bertrand Russell, who lived from 1872 to 1970, who was renowned for representing scientific humanism, spoke about the night of nothingness. He said, there is no darkness without, and when I die, there will be darkness within. There is no splendour, no vastness, anywhere, only triviality for a moment, and then nothing. Whilst arguably palatable, this comfortably materialistic theory conflicts with reports from those who die, then return, and insist that consciousness survives death. Their physical body was dead, but they were very much alive. It's understood that secular humanism usurped God, since religion is irrelevant at best and harmful at worst. Suicide bombers, enough said. Thus, human reason and scientific technology became the authority in life, and psychiatry our moral cornerstone. It's contended that people cling on to religion and spiritualism because, like a balm, it soothes existential panic and dread. Or maybe there's more to it. Maybe we've been led to believe this supposition. It appears the universe has evolved to think about itself, at least through us, since it's innate to ask the big questions, namely, where are we, what's the point, and what happens when we die? It seems we're predisposed to literally look up and wonder. Like when we're not distracted and on our own, away from the crowd, we look up to the expansive night sky with twinkling stars with earnest wonder. The core of us needs to know. The world is so intoxicatingly beautiful, yet so evil, particularly behind the scenes. Indeed, life is like one big motion picture. We're part of the greatest show on earth, but no one's watching except us. Quantum physics, however, tells us someone is watching, as consciousness is part of the bigger picture. It's possible some 10-year-old kid is playing a computer game in his basement which conjures up our reality. we're living in a simulation. We're educated, or rather indoctrinated, courtesy of the state, to believe that we're here because of a massive explosion that happened eons ago. An insane amount of energy appeared from nowhere for no reason, despite the first rule of thermodynamics that states energy can't be created or destroyed. But like other important details, like the biogenesis law, that life can only come from existing life, we park these inconvenient truths. So, from nothing came everything, and we came from pond scum. Our brains, the most complex structure in the universe, evolved from goo. Incredibly sophisticated DNA codes randomly organize themselves. It's literally insane how many conditions are required for life despite billions of years. It's statistically impossible, but miraculously, we're here. It's noted the God hypothesis remains off the table. Intelligent design is not accepted as an alternative scientific theory. So we're either a happy or not so happy accident, depending on perspective. We also apparently live on a spinning globe that circles the sun and spins through the universe at insane speeds. Once the telescope established that no heaven was visible around the solar system, the idea was superseded in mainstream science. Thus, it's purported there is no heaven up there or hell below us. John Lennon's song Imagine embedded this idea into our mind in addition to the seemingly noble aspiration for the world to live as one. It's interesting that back then people had to imagine there's no heaven and hell because they believed that these were real places, unlike today. Today it's widely believed there is no God, but there might be aliens. None of this is by accident. It would further appear that nothing is as it appears to be, like it doesn't feel like we're zipping through space, and surely it would be tricky for planes to land on a moving Earth. And the sun appears to circle the Earth, moving from east to west like the moon, and the stars never change, hence they've been named since the beginning of time. But moreover, as Bertrand Russell states, physicists assure us there's no such thing as matter, and psychologists assure us there's no such thing as mind. That's cited in his book In Praise of Idleness, published in 1935. Atomic physics destroyed the illusion of matter, since matter is largely empty space, and neuroscience destroyed the illusion of self and free will. Mental activity is reduced to physical activity of the body. As it transpires, our brains choose our choice before the thoughts ever enter our mind. Consciousness appears to be some kind of byproduct. This seems counterintuitive since we have an overwhelming sense that we choose. So we don't have a soul, and mind is more of a concept. Russell concedes this is an unprecedented occurrence since back in the day people believed they were a soul, mind. They were told that, but now we're told the diametric opposite, and we believe that. It's conveyed we're smarter now, more evolved than Neanderthals living in caves. Our science and technology is immense. Or maybe we're not smarter now. Maybe the ancients were smarter as they were closer to the truth than us. Hence, modern science is now confirming the wisdom of the Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, regarding the fact that we live in a multidimensional universe. It would appear the ancients knew this. They were au fait with other dimensions. We see almost nothing, less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, which corroborates with the Kabbalah that states we see 1% of reality and 99% is hidden. Science has created a religion, atheism, out of the observable, which is ironically couched in the unobservable, like dark matter and dark energy, which constitutes 95% of the universe. Russell de Carlo wrote, materialistically bound, traditional science assumes that anything that cannot be measured, tested in a laboratory, or probed by the five senses or their technological extensions simply doesn't exist. It's not real. The consequence, all of reality has been collapsed into physical reality. Spiritual, or what I would call non-physical dimensions of reality have been run out of time. And that's cited in Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, published in 2011. Scott Peck, who was an author and psychiatrist, said, the use of measurement has enabled science to make enormous strides in understanding the material universe, but by virtue of its success, measurement has become a kind of scientific tool. The result is an attitude on part of many scientists of not mere skepticism, but outright rejection of anything that cannot be measured. It is as if they were to say, what we cannot measure, we cannot know. There is no point in worrying about what we cannot know. Therefore, what cannot be measured is unimportant and unworthy of our investigation. Because of this attitude, many scientists exclude from their serious consideration all matters that are or seem to be intangible, including, of course, the matter of God. And that was cited in Along the Road Less Travelled and Beyond, which was published in 1997. The invisible world, by its very nature, cannot be explained by science, whose means for investigations are limited, like it can't be observed, weighed, or measured. It's like the elephant in the room. Paul McKenna concedes, as so often in the realm of the paranormal, we find an unwillingness to accept what we do not understand. And further, some of the most fascinating and mysterious secrets of our universe are being ignored for no other reason than they do not fit with the current paradigm, the mindset of the scientific community. However, it seems this rhetoric is changing with the advent of modern physics. Nikola Tesla, who's a scientific genius, he lived from 1856 to 1943, said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all previous centuries of existence. But moreover, Tesla admitted that he was given inventions from the spirit world. He said on his deathbed that he would leave a pad of paper and a pen by his bedside before he went to bed, and in the morning, inventions would be written down for him, not in his handwriting." So that's weird. And it's also bemusing that the two most famous rocket scientists, Werner von Braun and Hermann Oberth, claimed they were helped from people from other worlds. It seems there are aliens. Fundamentally, it seems we've been lied to, as Jonathan Black highlights in his book The Secret History of the World, which was published in 2010. Could the very people who have done most to form today's scientifically orientated and materialistic worldview secretly have believed something else? Newton, Kepler, Voltaire, Paine, Washington, Franklin, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Edison, Wilde, Gandhi, Duchamp. Could it be true that they were initiated into a secret tradition, taught to believe in the power of mind over matter, and that they were able to communicate with incorporeal spirits? But people are beginning to wake up. We're beginning to realise that there's more going on than what we see. Paracelsus, alchemical genius, said, "Anyone who peremptorily denies the existence of anything beyond the horizon of his understanding because it doesn't harmonise with his or science's accepted opinions is arguably a slave to those opinions he has accepted." In the Bible, in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13, we're told, "He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is a shame and a folly unto him." Like, how many people have got an opinion in the Bible, yet they've never read it? This is not accidental, siblings. Einstein said, "Condemnation without investigation is a height of ignorance." He also said, "Be a loner. That gives you the chance to wonder, to search for the truth. Have holy curiosity. Make your life worth living." And I finish this by saying, look up. Okay, so that's the foreword. So I'll stop here and we can get into chapter 1. Okay.